I did this video yesterday where I was talking about wonder, particularly in relation to religious and scientific writings. I don't know if I've got anything more to say about that, but one of the interesting things that happened after that is during the rest of the day I came across two references to Aristotle talking about wonder. One in James Carr's book by James Carr and one somewhere else, I can't remember the other reference. But it was a quotation where he says that all inquiry begins in wonder, which is a really nice sentiment. I like that idea. And it put me in mind of a couple of other thoughts, really, I suppose, or references, kinds of references. Coming from that, I think probably very different ideas, but sharing a common, or what to me at least feel like it's a common structure, a common set of concepts. And probably the one that I like the most, really, is from Richard Feynman, the physicist, where he says that most scientific discoveries don't start with a Eureka. They start with a that's funny, which I really like the idea of. I really like the idea of that. I mean, what it puts me in mind of it seems to suggest that that all kinds of enlightenment or pursuits of knowledge or any kind of process like that doesn't begin with revelation. It begins with mystery, or the knowledge gathering process, if that's the right term for it, or significant aspects of the whole process of being alive and awake are characterized at least by this moment in which mystery and revelation are kind of coexisting. This moment of wonder, which can kind of crystallize out and become revelation, become knowledge, or can suggest a path towards some kind of information, but is also absolutely constitutive of what I'm referring to here as mystery, I suppose. And it is interesting. I mean, I don't want to get too metaphysical about this, but certainly it seems to me there is a kind of a sense in which I'll just keep using the word mystery, that sense of wonder is a moment at which there's a kind of psychological state, that sense of holding things in suspension or being held in suspension away from the routineness of the world, and kind of taken aback, kind of held, being surprised and startled and taken out of oneself, and those kind of senses. There's a very particular kind of psychological state associated with that, and I think possibly quite a useful correlation with the kind of real substance of the world. I mean, the real substance of the world it's not mysterious. I'm not going to try and make those kind of claims, but I do think that there is. I'm just not finding the words for this really, but I do get the sense that there is a kind of unformedness about the world, or a lot of potentiality about the world. Unless the future is completely determined, which who knows it might, but the future is a blinding mirage, undoubtedly, or it certainly feels like it is. So there's a lot of unformedness about it, and there's a lot of unformedness about everything that we don't know, and everything that lies outside of sensory awareness, and that lies outside of any kind of probing process that will launch that can be launched upon the world, not just by human senses, but any kind of sensory or instrumental approach, any kind of approach that one would make to the world through instruments or through senses, is inevitably a cancelling out or a disregarding of all the other kinds of instrumental approaches that one could make. So I think of necessity there is a kind of an aspect, an attribute of the universe which lies out, and I'm not arguing for God here, although perhaps I'll get there in the end. There does seem to be an aspect of the universe and the world in which we live, which necessarily precedes any advance made upon it. You know, the world before you look at it, the world before you measure it. A kind of quantum thing to do with indeterminacy, maybe, I don't know. But anyways, there's something about that, and I think there's a useful correlation there between that feeling of wonder which precedes knowledge and the idea of the world before you look at it. That's the nearest I can get with that, really. It's starting to sound very metaphysical. I suppose if you were to put a name to the mystery and reify it and give it a personality, that's when you'd start to get into religion, but that's not really where I'm going with this.